The sound, like if we're just talking here with somebody. Sound okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, it's not too loud. How does it look with the lighting?
That looks great.
Yeah, looks good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that guy's cruising, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, we're out here, pretty north of Seattle, out here on site at the Boeing strike. We wanted to come out here, like we mentioned, and just kind of talk to some folks out here on the picket lines and get their experiences. The Seattle Times did a really cool article about one of the people out here on the strike, that they're making more money on strike than they were off strike, because they got a job at Target 4 days a week and are making more money at Target while on strike than they were at Boeing, which kind of goes to show like why this raise is so necessary.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionaryrhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video.
What's up, guys? This is a little bit unorthodox. This is Revolutionary Rhetoric on the road. Revolutionary Road Rhetoric. Revolutionary Road?
Yeah, Revolutionary Road. All right, I like that.
That's got to be something already. Yeah. But we'll see. We're rolling in the Benz, working class car, if there ever was one. And we got a couple errands to run before we head out. We're going to head out to the Boeing picket line. The Boeing machinists we talked about last episode. For those of you that don't know, Kanan and I live in Western Washington, so we're in Western Washington, north of Seattle right now. That's where the Boeing picket's happening, so we're going to go check it out. Go down there, talk to some folks if we can't get a couple interviews, and just see how the strike's going, basically.
We're gonna go up close and live, so you guys can get an idea of like the context of how the strike, how the picketing looks like.
Yeah, this is a little different, obviously, than what we've ever done before. So we're kind of making this up as we go along. We're just gonna be cruising around and chatting with people, and it's gonna be cut together videos and stuff.
And I'm sure some of the stuff that you'll see, you'll probably be seeing behind the scenes. We're gonna be putting some of this on our Patreon. So.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, just the parts that we're fucking around that we're not gonna really put in the episode. You know. Oh, and there we go. That's part of it.
Yeah, we're out here on the streets of Western Washington. Maybe we'll cut back in if we have anything to say. I guess in the meantime, we can talk about what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
There was a couple pieces of news. One was I don't know if are you familiar with who Chapel Roan is?
Oh yeah, my girlfriend is like the biggest fucking stan.
Yeah, so is my wife. So I'm a big fan too.
She's pretty cool. I like her.
Yeah, I like her music. You know,
from when it comes to pop music.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. As far as, I like any pop music. I don't mind that pop music. And I guess recently she got into a lot of trouble by saying that she wasn't convinced about voting for Harris. So she pretty much said...
Well, she said that she'll probably end up voting for Harris, but she's not convinced of endorsing her entire brand behind Harris.
I think she said something specifically. She said something like... I forget what the phrasing was, about something like not doing anything for me, or like not doing anything for us or something. Or she basically, like, she called out Harris for just not, like... for just being like a corporate chill. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I don't think she used that many words, and maybe that wasn't her intention. Maybe that's me kind of putting those words in her mouth. But
I think
as I understood it, it was like kind of saying like Harris doesn't stand for anything that like the younger generation stands for. So like, she's nothing to us, which I agree with as a sentiment. Yeah. But the bigger point to that story is then immediately just like the vitriol and hate and homophobia that was thrown at her online by supposed like, rainbow flag in their bio liberals of like, is she even really queer? She's just using her queerness to be good clout.
If you're not voting for Kamala, you're not a real queer person.
It's like, that's exactly what they said. Like, this fucking liberal Twitter and liberal just like internet just immediately turned on Chapel Roan because she like dared to go against, like the Democratic Party, which is like not for nothing, but like real queers. I don't want to use like. I'm not a part of that community, so I don't want to speak for that community. But every queer person that I've met fucking hates Kamala Harris.
Most politically active queer people
there we go.
are usually not big fans of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, because like they do nothing for them. Like because they are it's just lip service and it's just empty promises.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the end of the day, if you look back in the history of the Democratic Party, a lot of the big names in the Democratic Party, they weren't actually even supportive of LGBTQ community until fairly recently.
Yeah.
What was it like? Joe Biden wasn't even in favor of same-sex marriage until like 2012.
Yeah, until he really started gearing up for a presidential run, I think. Like,
yeah,
because
exactly.
That's popular nationally, so he had to pivot on a lot of. But he's also the same way about abortion. He was anti-abortion until he kind of ran for national office.
Put your finger in the fucking wind. That's all it is.
Yeah, which is
that's the Democratic Party. At least have. I wouldn't say I wouldn't use the word respect, but at least I have some sort of admiration, I guess, for the Republicans, at least being staunch in what they believe in.
I don't think it's about respect or admiration, but at least you know what they believe in, because what they say they believe in, and it's they're out with their hate, and their hatred is out in the open, and it goes back to that Martin Luther quote, right, about like
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King. Okay. Martin Luther, yes, the 15th century Protestant.
Fuck bitches, get money. That's what Martin Luther said.
That's what Martin Luther said. Fuck the Catholic Church, get your own brand of religion. No, what Martin Luther King said about the greatest threat to like black liberation isn't the Ku Klux Klaner, it's the white moderate.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget the exact quote, because the white moderate
that's as close as you'll do it.
Yeah, like the white moderate will stab you in the back. At least with the Ku Klux Klaner, you know where they stand, and that idea is still very much true today.
Yes.
Republicans, you get what you get. It's not a mystery with Republicans. You know they want to ban abortion. You know they want to take away LGBTQ rights. Democrats just don't care for those things. So they'll go if it's politically expedient for them to take away gay rights, then they'll take away gay rights.
and they'll be like, and then they turn around and be like, chaperone, and be like, how dare you? You're supposed to be that white liberal. You're supposed to, not go against the grain.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for, I mean, not that I didn't like her, but I liked her. I just didn't know much about her. But after this, I have a lot more respect for her.
Yeah, I mean, I always liked her music, but a few months ago, she declined. She was invited to appear at the White House. She was invited to perform at the White House, and she declined. She said, and she said, in solidarity with Gaza, I'm not going to support her to go to the perform at the White House.
Comrade Roan.
So yeah, Comrade Roan. I think that was like, I don't know, a few months ago, 6 months ago, maybe that happened.
She might low key be some sort of socialist.
I don't know if she's a socialist, but I think she's just, kind of like, well, I don't know. Maybe she's a socialist. I don't know. I think she's.
I mean, when you're trying to be a big pop star, you kind of and you want to, climb the ladder of mainstream culture, mainstream music. You kind of have to like shush down on your mainstream views.
Yeah, we've seen that with We've seen that with a lot of like actors and celebrities.
Yeah.
Like they will just do that lip service and support Israel just because it's politically, it's for their career, it's the better thing.
Exactly.
To do.
Well, you see, I mean, take a look now. Like, if she did this a year or two ago, I don't think she would blow up the same way. Like, I don't think her music would be as large in the mainstream as it is now.
Yeah.
But now that she's mainstream, they can't deny her that.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the best way to go.
Yeah, and this will hurt her career to some extent, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Maybe not, because if the Gaza thing didn't, this won't. Then you know what I mean.
Yeah. I honestly don't think so. I think it may upset some people, but I think that the majority of people that listen to her music are most likely somewhat in agreement with her. And if anything, she's probably helping the cause more than she knows.
Probably, yeah. I think that's a valid point.
Well, we are right now actually heading to the Best of Buys.
Yeah, I forgot a cord from our massive stash of electronics. We loaded up the electronics on our go bags. Charged everything last night, got everything ready, and then forgot a fucking
drove an hour 15 minutes.
Well, the problem is I started my day, I got off work in South Seattle, so I had to cut, you know what I mean? I had to drive all the way up Seattle and then all the way north of Seattle. Anyway, we're about to head into Best Buy. We'll connect with y'all later. We're going to talk about Eric Adams. We're going to talk about the Arkansas execution of Marcellus Williams. And then we're going to head down to Boeing. So stay tuned.
Fun episode.
Woo! Woohoo! Hey guys, Tyler here real quick. Just wanted to quickly drop in something that I forgot to mention when me and Con were kind of cruising around, which was a couple of retractions, a couple of mistakes we had made when we were speaking last episode. One, I said the freedom to travel freely is the 4th Amendment. I misspoke, that's the 14th Amendment. Not that big a deal, but just wanted to clear that up. Also, this one, we were talking about the soap and soda laws that had passed in Seattle, and we were referencing Kathy Moore as the one person who opposed it. I had that backwards. Kathy Moore is the person who wrote the laws and who championed them. It was Morales, was the city councilwoman's name was Morales, who was the one voice who voted against it. So definitely wanted to give her credit and not kind of the Kathy Moore, who was not against it. In fact, she was the champion of it. So just wanted to clear that up. Anyway, thanks, and see you all next time. Hey guys, we're back. We're outside of Best Buy, being super shady in the parking lot.
Selling drugs.
Setting up stuff for to go out. I don't know. Does this make us filmmakers now, dude?
I don't know.
Are we filmmakers?
That's kind of, I mean, the goal. I mean, eventually, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make comedy films, dude. We're here with Cairo. Oh, sorry. We're here with Cairo 7 News. Call me 7 News.
All right, guys, we're gonna go check out some of this video, see what we just did, and see how it looks, and then we'll give you back with you. Hopefully, everything went well. Can you hear me through the system, or can you just hear me my voice?
I can hold you through the system.
Okay. And is it still
I can hear
recording?
my own voice, which kind of throws me off a little bit.
Right, yeah, because I mean, you normally wouldn't be able to. So like, yeah. So if I'm sitting here talking to somebody, you got that in frame?
Correct.
All right, you stop the video, and then we'll see how it looks in the playback, and then we'll be good to go.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, we're gonna go check out some of this video. All right, guys, we're back. We just played back the video from our little parking lot Best Buy test, and it worked really well. We've planned on doing something outdoors like this, and we just haven't actually been able to yet.
You're so fucking busy, man, at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it's kind of, oh shit, this doesn't actually work.
No?
No, because this clip isn't clipped.
What do you mean?
It's not a rod that goes straight up and down through it. Let me think. It has this panel on it, which, you know what I'm saying? So if I had my like shears, I could like shear that off to be able to screw into this thing. Because the bottom of the light itself is you need to screw into. Yeah, but that's for a phone.
Okay, but I was saying that doesn't this hold this?
No, it does.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You mind finding a drive-thru, dude?
Yeah, hungry?
Yeah, I haven't eaten. We're at a Jack in the Box drive-thru because your boys got to eat because I had a long day of parent-teacher conferences.
Hi, can I get one breakfast Jack with the side of ranch?
Hey, we're back. Just got our little dinner. Read up on the situation with both Eric Adams and Marcellus Williams. One of them is pretty funny. One of them is not funny at all. The Eric Adams thing is funny because it reminds me of the whole Bob Menendez bit, which I gotta follow up on. Was he ever like? He was indicted, I think. But was he ever like prosecuted or
That I
don't know. We should look into that later. I'll put a pin on that and I'll come back to the whole Bob Menendez thing. But Eric Adams, mayor of New York, former cop, just goes to prove that all cops are bastards, indicted on 5 counts. I guess they were actually, we didn't know what they were because they were just unsealed today. Thursday, the 26th of September, the 5 counts of his indictment were unsealed this morning.
So it's true.
Yeah, it is a bunch of, it's all around campaign finance, like disclosure, fraud, and wire conspiracy, and then also colluding with like foreign agents because he accepted bribes from the Turkish officials on behalf of Turkey, apparently, to pressure the New York City Fire Department into like looking the other way for fire inspections on getting a new Turkish consular building built in New York City. So basically getting like a Turkish consular he accepted bribes to like fast track that and grease some palms in New York's like permitting process or whatever. But in addition to that, accepting like tons of lavish vacations in Turkey, staying in all the finest hotels and the eating at the finest restaurants and all the luxurious entertainment was the.
But what was it? A quote of
$123,000.
$123,000, and I'd like to point out that $123,000 in Turkish money. Dog, like
That's a lot.
That's a lot of fucking money. That's like realistically like about like $1.5 million in US dollars.
Yeah.
Like that's how much power that has.
The US dollar has in Turkey.
Yeah, it's like $1.5 million dollars worth of luxury goods.
Yeah.
What did you do for $1.5 million? Most people can't even like make $1.5 million in like 10 years. 15 years, and you're like switching around and have luxury goods for $1.5 million.
So yeah, he's alleging his innocence. He's saying he looks forward to defending his innocence in front of the people in New York, yada yada yada. But it's just funny, like this is kind of the old school corruption that I'm a big fan of.
More of it, please.
Big fan. More of this shit. More of this like accepting gold on behalf of foreign agents type shit. I live for like the goofy 50s and 60s era like corruption and also this is like is there ever been a mayor from New York that wasn't a complete buckhead? So like not that I know of.
Never be.
Bill, what was his name? Bill Blasio, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then Rudy Giuliani forever. I don't know.
God, Rudy Giuliani, but that was just a whole different like situation, man.
What's funny too is Rudy Giuliani, dude. It's like he had to like open his mouth and come back from retirement or whatever. Because, like, everybody fucking loved Rudy Giuliani post 9/11, right? He was the face of 9/11. Yeah. He was, like, New York's mayor. Everyone was, like, super on board with Rudy Giuliani. And, like, he had, like, surging approval from, he was on the cover of Time magazine, I think, at one point in, like, 2001 or 2002. He was a fucking deal, man. Rudy Giuliani was, like, America's darling after 9/11. Because he was the one who led the first responder efforts and all this and at the World Trade Center in 9/11. Overwhelming support, and then he just completely fucking destroyed his own reputation by like just latching on to Trump and just being like doing what we all saw him do, right?
Wasn't he the era of stop and frisk in New York as well?
Yeah, I mean, but people didn't care about that in the grand sense, like post 9/11, but it's just like if he had just retired post 9/11 and just gone away, he would be in the history books as like New York's greatest mayor, right?
Yeah.
Just because of like whether or not that's true, because yeah, like Kanan mentioned.
Is about to hit me?
No, he's good. He's clear, dude. Okay. Yeah, not because of like his actual policies, because yeah, he was a Republican. He was a kind of a white racist Republican in New York. So like obviously a lot of his shit was pretty fucked up. But like nationally, like people who lived in Oklahoma or California, or whatever, had a pretty strong favorability of Giuliani. And if he had just gone away, he would have been fine. But then he had to come back and, be fucking Giuliani. So, like, he's forever known as just some idiot bumbling around.
Also, fucking Sacha Baron Cohen.
What about Sacha Baron Cohen?
You haven't seen that?
What?
So they set him up with, like...
Oh, yeah, okay.
They set him up. It was supposed to be, like, a young girl, like, underage girl. And they basically caught him in the act. Yeah, for sex, like, prostitution. I was just sitting like, what the fuck?
Was that one of the Borats, or was that, like...
I think that was the second one.
Yeah.
I think that was the second Borat.
Yeah.
Where they literally got him like on camera.
Oh, but I think that was like his Trump days. He was already like a Trump's lawyer at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Oh. But I was just like, that was just diminishing his fucking favorability.
Yeah.
If there was any left.
Anyway, the second bit of news is circling back on the Marcellus Williams. We looked in a little bit. Again, I said Arkansas a couple times. I apologize. That was Missouri.
What is it? Missouri.
Yeah, so he was convicted in 1998 of stabbing a journalist. I think stabbing 43 times, and he had always claimed his innocence. Up until the moment he was executed, he claimed his innocence, and even the family of the victim didn't want him executed. They had petitioned to have him not executed. Although it should be noted that they stated that him being in jail was enough, so they were still convinced he was
convinced that he did it. Yeah.
So that kind of muddies the water a little bit. But they were against the execution. Obviously, his defense team was against the execution. Every human rights group, like the Innocence Project, everybody came to his aid. But even the prosecutor of the case said that it should have never gone that far. It should have never been gone to execution. And it was the governor of Missouri, Ron, whatever his name was, I forget his name. He did nothing to it, and then the United States Supreme Court ruled, like I said, 6-3, to not stop it. And it was the 3 liberal justices, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and the other one, what's her face?
God, you named off the 2 that I already knew.
Whatever, the other one, the other liberal.
The other liberal.
Yeah.
The other lib.
But nobody. There was no dissenting, or there was no no. They didn't release anything. It was just a vote. So there's no opinions written about it. They didn't justify their vote. Is what I'm trying to say. It was a vote 6-3 to not do anything about it. So he was killed at 6 in Missouri prisons by lethal injection. And this is kind of what people claim like communist regimes do, is like, people just murdered by the state, right? And like, I just find that like ironic, because like this was an innocent man murdered by the state, but the mainstream media and everyone is kind of just okay with it.
And here we are.
But we'll still kind of talk shit about Stalin killing, political opponents or whatever, while we do it here. But also, this was the 15th person, I think. I think it was, what was it, the 6th person executed in Missouri this year, and the 15th in the nation overall. So it's just crazy that we're still executing people. That's like a whole other conversation of like the death penalty and capital punishment in America. But yeah, this is just super sad. An innocent man was just murdered by the state, and that's what his lawyer said in a statement. This is a murder. It's just like, it's just a murder. You took a black Muslim man and then murdered him. Yeah, for a crime that he, by all accounts, did not commit.
Like, it's even proven. Like, it wasn't like it. Was he the murderer? I don't know. It's kind of muddy.
It wasn't proven that he didn't do it. But
there's no proof that he
did, and that's kind
exactly.
of
Well, is that not the criminal justice system?
It should be.
It's not the whole point.
For white people, it is.
You are innocent until proven guilty.
For wealthy white people, it is, sure.
Yeah, well,
but for
obviously
black Muslim men, it's not. It's you have to prove your own innocence. And yeah, he was what was it? There was no DNA on, I guess, there was no DNA that connected him to the crime. But upon like testing, there was DNA that, like I said, that linked the prosecutor and like the lead investigator or something like that to the knife, because of how improperly evidence was handled and like bagged and stuff. So like that alone, I think in typical like court cases, should have been able enough to like acquit him and call a mistrial, because like if your murder weapon, if your prime piece of evidence like lost the chain of evidence like and was contaminated, then you as like a prosecutor and like the police, like that's how you fuck up cases, right? Like if you don't, like if you collect evidence without a warrant or something, then you can't use that evidence in court. If you taint evidence and like if you break the chain of evidence, the chain of custody of evidence, then it's no longer admissible in court and shit. So like that shouldn't have been allowed, right? And yet it was. But again, because it's Missouri and it's a black man, and we know how that goes in America. So. And
again, the governor of Missouri could have stopped this in the very first sense. Like, so in my view, the blood is basically on his hands.
Yeah, I mean,
to a certain extent, because
I think it's equal blame, because I mean the Supreme Court also could have stopped it and they chose not to.
True, but he could have just stopped it. He could have just said, "No, that's not. We don't have the evidence." Blah blah blah.
Or at least like this deserves more investigation, right?
Yeah, but he's like, "No, just carry on, dude."
Yeah, I mean, I forget what the stat was, but like it was the Innocence Project had like claimed that like so much percentage of like executed people in America are like actually innocent. Like it's like an appalling.
It's like 6%.
Yeah, it's like way too many. Yeah, it's like how many people we've killed that we have later found out are innocent is just so fucked up.
That's why we can't have it.
Yeah. Unless if you can't be certain, then you can't do it, and we can't be certain.
Yeah, exactly.
So
plus,
I don't know, pretty fucked up.
If somebody actually did something fucking horrific, I'd rather send him to go do labor at a labor camp.
Yeah, I'm pretty much against capital punishment, and I mean, I can't think of a scenario in which I would support it. I just, you know what I mean? I just think, I
don't know, the Russian Revolution.
Well, that's like, that's war or a battle at least, you know what I mean?
I know, I'm just kidding. That's not, they wouldn't even have a justice system at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, all right, well, we're going to head over to the Boeing. We'll probably do a little reading on the way about the Boeing history and the Boeing strike, because I know there was a strike in 2008. I want to read a little bit, so we'll probably stop here and then catch you on site, and we'll interview a couple folks, and then we'll
skedaddle.
We'll cut it all together and hopefully have an episode out this weekend or early next week or something. But anyway, we'll see you guys over there. Peace. The sound, like if we're just talking here with somebody, sound okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, it's not too loud. How does it look with the lighting?
That looks great.
Yeah, looks good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that guy's cruising, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, we're out here, pretty north of Seattle, out here on site at the Boeing strike. We wanted to come out here, like we mentioned, and just kind of talk to some folks out here on the picket lines and get their experiences. We know we want to be sensitive of the fact that today, Thursday the 24th, is the first, this is the first paycheck they would have received, so they've been now on strike for just about 2 weeks. They walked out on Friday the 13th. 2 weeks ago tomorrow, the 25th, it'll be tomorrow, it'll be 2 weeks. And this Thursday is the first paycheck they would have received. But now they're on strike, and so we got to be aware that they're probably hurting financially. We know that this was not super surprising. As I was reading a couple articles, they had been mentioning that they were kind of squirreling away money. The Seattle Times did a really cool article about one of the people out here on strike, that they're making more money on strike than they were off strike, because they got a job at Target 4 days a week and are making more money at Target while on strike than they were at Boeing, which kind of goes to show like why this raise is so necessary. And for anybody kind of unfamiliar about what's been going on, the strike was for 40% over 4 years, with some included benefits, included retirement bonuses, included improved benefits, improved retirement bonuses. Boeing countered. Boeing countered with 25%, which was rejected by the union. And then Monday, Boeing, there's a little back and forth as to if this was intentional or not. Boeing leaked to the members of the union and to the media their new offer, which they apparently did not send to the union representatives, which seems as a ploy to kind of undermine the union leadership and turn the union members against union leadership. But that plan was, that was 30%. Over 4 years, with a $6,000 back to work bonus, as well as improved retirement benefits and some other benefits included. That Boeing did say that plan is only valid if they vote on it by midnight tomorrow, Friday. So as I understand it, the union isn't seriously considering that, and Boeing did say that was going to be its best and final offer, which is a pretty poor negotiating tactic if you don't talk to the union leaders about it and then you say it's the best and final. That kind of that makes you look weak if you then have to then either capitulate more. So we'll see. We're gonna head on in. We're gonna walk around this corner a little bit and go chat with some folks, see if we can't talk to a couple of people out there. This is the first time Boeing has been on strike since 2008. It would be really cool if we could find anybody that was there on that last strike and maybe talk to them about this versus that. That one obviously went on for a little while. I'll pull up the details the next time we come back. But apart from that, yeah, we're gonna get over there. And if you don't see Kanan, it's not because he's not here, it's because he's lovingly holding the camera for me. There you go, Kanan's thumb. All right, well, let's head in and see if we can't find some folks to chat with. Well, we'll be back soon. Hey y'all, we're just wrapping up here. We're out front of the Boeing facility in Mukilteo. As you can see behind me, we got a couple different the tent set up with some of the Boeing employees out here, kind of just showing us support, showing solidarity. We interviewed a bunch of great people. Nobody was comfortable with having their face on video, which is totally fine. We interviewed a couple different folks who it was just a casual conversation, and then we got audio. We were a couple ladies who had worked here for both. They worked here, I think, 19 years. So they'd been here or 17 years maybe. Were here for both the 2008 strike and this current 2024 strike. So they had a lot of great things to say. We do have the audio for that. So, well, you just heard audio from that, I suppose. You just heard audio from that conversation. A really great experience out here. The morale is high. Everyone seems to be having a really good time, really good conversation. We spoke to one gentleman who was saying how there's just so much energy and excitement out here on the lines, on the picket lines for the Boeing strike, that so much so that even the new hires, some as early as only working at Boeing for 2 weeks, we're happy and committed to coming out here and striking, just showing solidarity, which I think is just really inspiring. Another gentleman who had been here both in 2008 and 2009, he was laid off and then he came back in 2014 and he's been here for the last 10 years. Had a lot of great things to say, just showing up about like the amount that Boeing is kind of willing to negotiate in bad faith just says a lot for kind of the company. It's just shameful. And all in all, we just had a really good experience. Again, I feel bad you can't see Kanan. He's behind the scenes holding the camera like a boss. You have the audio, and we're gonna kind of digest, and we'll talk about the 2 other interviews we did in a little more detail. But we just wanted to kind of get a couple shots and wrap up the scene here. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, so the first thing we want to ask is how long have you been working at Boeing? How long have you been a Boeing employee?
17 years.
17 years. And have you been a member of IAM the full time?
Yes.
Cool. And yourself?
I've also been at Boeing for 17 years.
Okay. Wow. So you were both in here in 2008?
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. So that's just rare to find somebody who was here for both. Then let me ask you, how long did that strike go for? I looked up the stat, 58 days, and we're now on day 13 of this one?
Day 14, I think.
14, yeah, because it was last Friday the 13th, and now tomorrow will be 14 days, Friday the 20, whatever it is. Yeah, because I think you guys walked out on Friday the 13th of 2 weeks ago, right?
Correct.
So how is the mood, the morale? I mean, we're only 2 weeks in, and everyone's still kind of energized. How is everybody feeling? How is the morale and the interactions out here?
I feel it's still really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's really glad to hear.
Even a lot of our new hires.
As we mentioned kind of off camera, we were speaking to a gentleman up the road there, and he was telling us how many new hires he had spoken to who had just been hired, maybe just a couple as recent as a couple of weeks out, that had all voted and authorized, and we're happy to kind of come out here with y'all and strike. And I think that really goes to show kind of the necessity of this, and also just the pertinence of just how much this is needed for to just renew these contracts. As I understand it, you guys haven't had a contract since 2008.
Correct.
And then the raises that have been doled out have been, what was it, 4% over like the last 2 years or something that doesn't even cover half the cost of inflation, let alone.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's very insubstantial.
Yeah, and
it doesn't come close to the cost of living around here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a public school teacher, and I moved here, so I'm aware of kind of the struggles, and and that's reading some of the articles. The Seattle Times did a really great piece that was kind of a individual exposés, if you want to call them that, on different folks out here who is and kind of what they were struggling with financially. And the one highlight I really took away from that, there was somebody who had started in February. I think it was a young woman. She started with Boeing in February, and since being on strike, she got a job at Target and makes more at Target than she does. She makes more on strike than she does off strike, just because of the starting rate of Target is just higher than what she was making at Boeing.
Correct.
Doing a pretty skilled machinist job, and that just seems totally backwards to me. And just
building airplanes that people fly 30,000 feet in the
right.
sky.
So, I mean, can we talk a little bit about your experiences out here? How have things been? How many days have you been out here? As I understand it, it's 4-hour shifts that you guys do volunteer in. Okay.
Yeah, I've only done 3.
3.
So
okay, cool. Yeah, great.
And this is my second. This is my second.
Okay, awesome. And again, I just want to how much we appreciate y'all chatting with us. And one more thing, as I understand, and feel free to stop me if this is overly sensitive, but today is the first paycheck that you would have received being off strike. Is that a dip to morale, or does that kind of boost morale in knowing that you guys are still out here going strong?
I haven't noticed that it's.
Or is it neutral?
We've lost any enthusiasm yet.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pre-warning that this is coming.
That's what we've heard. Yeah.
And people were told save anything you can.
Okay.
And be prepared.
Yeah.
And people listened, and they did it. Even like the new kids,
Yeah.
I think some of these kids, the new hires, are also generational.
Yeah.
So they have parents that work here.
Yeah. One of my students is he wants to come and work here because his dad works here.
Yep. Yeah. And so they remember being out here as a kid, standing on the line.
Sure. Oh yeah. I teach 9th graders, so he wouldn't have been born yet. But yeah, yeah, which is mind-blowing. It makes me feel old, but that's all right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me pull up my list here. I forgot. We're not professionals.
It's okay.
We do this for fun. Do you mind if I ask you your position? And if you're not comfortable with that because of the nature you said off camera, then feel free, and we can just skip that.
We'll skip that.
Okay, so that's fine. It just occurred to me that's if it was kind of a behind the lines thing.
We're pretty small, not elite group, but we are.
Yeah, no, we
in
understand.
Demand.
Sure. Okay.
If you said what we would do, they'd be like,
they would know.
I know
Okay.
who that is.
Fair enough. Okay, then we'll absolutely avoid that.
Very specific group.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else you want to think of?
Looking. Sorry, I hear myself talking. Looking into like future prospects. How long do you think until there are more unions that be joining from Boeing?
Do you know how many unions work at Boeing, or how many unions there are that are incorporated into the greater Boeing?
I thought only 2, but I don't know. Was it just BIA and IAM?
Yeah.
BIA and IAM, but we also get deliveries from people that are union.
Probably Teamsters, I would
I
imagine.
suppose the longshoremen who are supposedly going on strike here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
what I
were
wanted to go to
hearing.
ask.
Yes, they
Yeah.
affect us.
Yeah.
Parts come in from overseas. They're not going to be loading up.
Okay. And I mean, as you can see by every
Yeah,
car driving by, it seems like the public is what appears to be overwhelmingly supportive. I haven't looked at any kind of
I
polling.
hope so, because
yeah.
the media sure doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, medias are owned by the same corporations that own.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to
yeah.
come down here and give like people an actual contextual
Yeah,
view of
we just wanted to
what
see
people
how the
here
people down here are feeling. Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about, I guess, is the longevity of it. We know, like, the details. The initial 25% was originally rejected.
Correct.
Then Monday, this kind of underhanded play that Boeing may or may not have kind of that kind of snaky that they claim was unintentional, or they claim that they did, and they sent the new contract to the representatives. But as we've heard both from media and employees, that it was a direct dealing receipt that you guys received and was slipped to the media with bypassing union representation.
Absolutely. There's nothing accidental there.
Right, yeah, and so
anyone
that was
believes
for.
That, they are very
Yeah, I read that the first time I read that
They're
article. It's like
gullible.
that just very obviously seems like a ploy to kind of undermine leadership, and maybe hopefully turn. I think their
Insulting.
plan is to turn the workers of the CEO. Maybe the first paycheck is hitting 30% with that $6,000 kind of come back to work bonus that it included. Maybe that'll turn, and they'll vote against. But it seemed like that they completely misread the room. They like completely.
the whole time.
Yeah,
right?
like as far as from everyone we've spoken to and every reaction we've seen, it seems like that was like, well, I mean, just think of the what was it, the 95-5 like strike percentage of like, this is an overwhelmingly supported movement
I was
and
actually
action.
ashamed that I actually work for a company that feels that little about us
Yeah.
and our union.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
they would do something like that.
That kind of.
It makes me
yeah.
wonder, how far detached are they from us, you know?
Well, that's a big part of the talking points we had when we were covering the screenwriters strike last summer, and then the Teamsters before that. Is like the constant through line from these is how oblivious the executives of these companies seem to be, and like how detached. And I know that that's always been like this common
Sure.
talking point is like CEOs never really understand the common, like, the working man's dilemma. But it just seems like in recent memory, the last, like, I don't know, maybe even just 10 years, that has become so far removed, and the differences is so extreme.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that like it just seems almost comical how out of touch that they really are. Because if somebody did the math, the guy we were talking to over there was that all Boeing employees account for about 3%. The pay accounts for about 3% of what it costs to build a plane.
Right.
And then you guys in particular, the IAM, are 0.2% of that.
Right.
So you're asking for 40% over 0.2% of the workforce,
Correct.
which is that's a rounding error to a company like Boeing. And they've lost, or they will have presumably lost, more money out here while striking than it would have cost just to pay you.
Exactly.
And so at what point is it about saving face? And I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? This is less of a question to me just talking.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Honestly, I don't understand. Again, it makes me question, what kind of company do I work for?
Yeah.
You know, but they're willing to stand against us. Before they said because they were hurting, we needed to make an extension. They couldn't afford to go on strike again, and everyone conceded. We lost our pension, and then we had record-breaking profits, huge payouts to CEOs, and now they're playing the victim game again.
Yeah. Well, right, because it was last week that they said that they were the CEOs were going to like do everyone a solid, and they were going to cut their pay, and they were going to furlough their executives. And then when the details of that announcement actually came out, it was just the non-union workers that were furloughed. So it was like, okay, they're
contractors.
Yeah, they're employed to kind of garner sympathy from the public and play the victim, that they were going to cut their own pay from multi-millions down to slightly less multi-millions, and then also just to furlough their non-unions and contracted employees.
Yeah.
Was just another kind of underhanded move.
It's shameful.
Yeah.
I mean, is that just greed?
I mean, as socialists, we would argue yes, but
I mean, who needs that much money, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against it. I absolutely am for, if we want to pay people that kind of money.
Yeah.
That's fine, but not on the backs of your workers.
Sure. I mean, and we got to understand. We have to understand, him and I specifically, that we are probably in the minority of a lot of people's political opinions. The people on a picket line are from all walks of life and all political, and it's not necessarily a political thing. It's more of just a positional thing. It's a cost of living, and it's just a quality of life improvement. Let me ask you, what would you? Because somebody up there had mentioned that like they didn't want the 40% that soon, just because of like more of a. He was being a little facetious. I don't want to throw him under the bus.
Sure.
Yeah, he was just saying like it would be almost better at this point, because you guys are willing to go a little further, to send a better message to Boeing and then get the 40% immediately. Do you share that opinion, or would you rather take the 40%, what you originally asked for, and then go back to work and move on with your life?
I think for everybody possible, it would be good if they would just pay us.
Just get on with it.
Just get on with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll have bills.
Yeah.
Bills and them. I mean, we need to get these planes out to the customers.
Yeah, they're offering a service.
Sure. It's not just
Yeah.
us out here. We do, like I said, we have a lot of new hires who are starting to get worried.
Sure. Yeah.
Not really, but
It's only 13% immediately.
Yeah. And that's over. Yeah, we should say 40% over 4
contract.
years, right?
Correct,
So it's not
yeah.
even. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Again.
13%.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were some other benefits, like improved retirement benefits, improved like quality of life. I remember I was reading the full details of that most recent leaked.
And another
contract.
point, which they have not mentioned once to the media, some of the things that they have changed without talking about, and some attendance policies, which gives them more power to fire people.
Right.
And it just blows my mind that they're not talking about it.
Yeah, that needs to be highlighted more, as like, because as we understood it, that was.
Yeah, if you need to call in
Yeah.
before your shift, if you're going to be late or
Right.
absent.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh shoot, I slept through my alarm twice and you got a can.
Right.
I don't know. That to me is
A little, yeah. Just, I mean, yeah. It's just kind of life happens.
What a
People with
horrible
kids,
thing.
yeah. People with kids, like it happens, and
If I knew I was going to bleed, I wouldn't be late.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. All right. Well, I think we'll get out of your hair. We don't take up too much of your time. We know it's kind of windy and cold, and you guys. I think you guys are being relieved soon, right? So hopefully you'll be relieved soon. Well, best of luck to you all.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck.
All right, guys, we're done for the night. That was honestly exhilarating. That was a shit ton of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we did that. What was your takeaway? I know you were kind of behind the camera listening to the audio the whole time. What was any thoughts from you? How those conversations go?
I think they went pretty well. I think people were a little hesitant to talk to us because they were. I don't know if whether they were scared to say something wrong or they didn't trust us, which is completely understandable. If you just random two guys walk up to you, hey, do you want to interview?
Yeah, we did get accused of being like manager spies, which I mean is totally understandable. Like I guess that's something that they might have, that they said they have had kind of problems with, and I mean I would not put it above under Boeing to kind of like try some underhanded shit like that.
100%.
Yeah, so like we had to kind of prove who we were.
Yeah, it's like we're like some random YouTube page.
Yeah, give them our info and shit, and they were like, okay, cool. And there's two ladies who like we mentioned.
They're very sweet.
I mentioned in the kind of that post wrap up was they were really nice, they were really cool. Both worked there for quite a bit of time. Had a lot to say. The first couple guys we talked to, like I said, spirits were really high. They were off on the one side. They had a little bonfire going. We're kind of just hanging out, grilling, enjoying the night. I mean, it was 55 degrees out there, high 50s.
It wasn't too bad. It's not cold enough yet.
It got a little windy, but that's what the one guy had mentioned was that the longer the strike carries on, the colder and wetter it gets out there. If you've ever been to Western Washington in the winter, it can get kind of drizzly and gray, to say the least. And he was saying that was this guy's idea of like maybe that's what Boeing is holding out for, is if they can hold out and just kind of keep these like bullshit offers going long enough that the winter will come and the first kind of rains will set in and really the strike will lose some steam and lose some momentum.
Dude, I don't know, the determination, especially from the people that were there from 2008.
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, I don't care. We're not giving in to anything.
Right, and that was the one big kind of theme of the through line. Everyone we spoke to, they were ready for this. They said like the writing had been on the wall for a while. They had been pocketing away money. They had been just straight up ready for this for a long time.
Basically the union was telling them, hey, save up for months ago. They've been planning this for a while, and so people have saved up like months worth of rent and food, and they've been finding jobs while apparently one guy's like, Amazon will literally take you the next day if you apply for Amazon. Like,
that's true. Yeah, I worked in Amazon all through college and stuff, and even like fairly recently before I got my teaching job, when I was getting my teaching certification. And yeah, you don't apply, you just sign up.
Yeah,
it's almost like a day labor sign up. You just sign up and then you're just there.
Contract work.
Yeah, you go through 2 days of like on-site training and then you just apply, but you don't actually apply. There's no application or interview process. You just literally go on the website and sign up to work. And I don't know if it's still like that. It sounds like it is. This was in 2000.
Which is, I mean,
2021.
It's not the greatest work practice, but it definitely helps when you're going on strike and you just need money for rent for a few months. It helps out. They said one person applied to Target.
Yeah, made $22 an hour working at Target, which is more than they were made on Zoom. We told that story when we were talking to the lady. Also, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. When I worked at Amazon,
I worked at Amazon as well. But
when I worked at Amazon in the warehouse, I made $18 an hour. This was in 2020 in Arizona. So 18 an hour then. They're starting 20 here at Boeing, and so like I imagine Amazon has maybe increased in Washington maybe for more.
I worked from 2019 to 2020 Amazon delivering packages.
Oh, you were? I see. I worked in a warehouse.
Yeah. I started off at $18.50 and I ended up at $19.50 in a year.
Yeah. So if some of these people are starting at Boeing at $20, it's not hard to find a job, especially in Washington. The minimum wage, McDonald's employees here start at 20. Target starts at 22. Like the wages in Washington are pretty high comparative to the rest of the country, and so it's kind of just that's all the more reason that it's just kind of like really shameful for Boeing to like be nickeling and diming their employees so hard and just refusing raises and just really not coming to good faith agreements with their union. So
it's kind of sad, you know. Like they were talking about their raises over like an 8-year span, and it was like. I think it was like 4%. No, it was.
Yeah, I think it was 4% over 2 years was their last raise, which was only like 2% over a year, which is like 1/4 of inflation. So like it doesn't even cover. Not only does it not cover inflation, it doesn't even cover 1/4 of inflation. I could have those numbers backwards. It could have been.
I think it was. Years. I think no. The very first guy that we talked to, the very first guy, but the guy that was there for like 13 years, he said it was an 4% increase over 8 years. That's what he said.
Oh, 4% over 8 years. Okay,
yeah, 4% over 8 years.
That's even more despicable.
That's half a fucking percent.
Yeah.
Because imagine you're making $20 an hour. 10% would be $2. 5% would be $5. 5% would be $1. 50. It's like 20 cents. 30 cents. That is insane.
Yeah. That's just crazy. Look at it. Somebody Googled the price of a gallon of milk in 2020 compared to now. Over those 4 years, or and just see like that 30 cents or whatever doesn't even come close to covering the increase in bread and milk, let alone your rent. My rent has increased by $200 every year over year. I'm not getting a $200 raise, or actually no, what's 200 times 12? $200 a month times 12. I'm not getting a $2,400 raise every year, but my rent just keeps going up. My wages stay the same, but my rent is going up. How is that sustainable for families?
It's not. So they have to do the strike.
So yeah, I mean,
they have to do the strike, and I understand now, like the absolute atrocity that Boeing's like wage increases is just a joke, and then the amount of fucking bonuses they give to their CEOs. I would be out in the picket fence too. For sure. I would be out there 100%.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you like this type of content, if you like what we've done here today, let us know. Let us know that this is something you want to see more of. We do plan to cover a couple more things live. I don't want to say just yet, maybe because I guess this won't really even be out by that time anyway, or maybe it will. But go ahead and like us, subscribe, comment if you're on YouTube, follow us anywhere you get your podcasts. Leave a rating and a review on the podcast apps.
I will put. By the way, we do have a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon. I
will put a bunch of behind the scenes stuff on the Patreon.
Yeah, we got a lot of footage tonight.
Along with putting bloopers. Oh yeah, we can't.
We got all the bloopers. Yeah, we put it all out, but there's going to be some behind the scenes stuff on the Patreon. As always, we are a member of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network, so go check out those guys and what they do. Revolutionary Rhetoric, wherever you get your socials. We've said all that a million times.
Give us a review
Yeah.
and a rating on your audio podcast platforms.
Sweet. All right, y'all.
Cool.
Well, have a great night. Peace.